Welcome to Daily Joy, where every movie is a story waiting to be relived. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe and like. Also, a comment would be much appreciated. Be aware that this video contains spoilers, so proceed with caution. Before we dive into today's recap, go down in the comments and tell me if you like the background music or anything else you're thinking. I promise to reply to your comment in maximum 10 minutes and 24 seconds. The best comment from last video is from AnnetteMr6518. I'm so glad you liked the video. Your comment and support means a lot. Now, let's continue with our video. At an airport, a plane is attempting to take off as the police begin firing at it. Inside the plane, Franklin realizes that they're about to crash and watches his life flashing in front of his eyes. He's a tech blogger known as Remedy, and he focuses on achieving optimal health. Sitting next to him is Sig, the owner of a pharmaceutical company that released a medicine aware it was highly addictive and lethal, causing thousands of deaths. This all began 3 months ago. Franklin secures a position as a ticket taker at a special event, driven by his urgent desire to land an interview with Anton, a health and tech guru dedicated to discovering methods for achieving optimal health without the use of medicine. Sadly, Franklin arrives late and creates a negative impression, so he misses the complete explanation of how he needs to scan people's tri-bands to verify their tickets. When Franklin makes a mistake while scanning and his boss scolds him in a harsh way, his coworker Jala steps in to defend him, and the two end up chatting. They're truly connected, and Franklin invites Jala out, but rather than offering her number, she programs an alarm on his phone so he can pick her up after he finishes the presentation. Afterward, Franklin rapidly goes to the bathroom and comes across Andy, who has stolen and hacked a tri-band from his boss so Franklin can access the presentation since he couldn't afford the ticket. With this band, Franklin manages to get past the guards at the backstage door just in time to witness Anton's arrival with the enigmatic assistant Ingram. Franklin attempts to hide himself behind the curtains, yet Anton discovers him regardless and questions who and why. He appears to be chatting with his assistant, and Franklin observes that Anton is wearing a fancy ring on his finger. Anton also suspects that Franklin's tri-band isn't his, but he favors him to stay and enjoy the show. Then Anton goes to the stage to be welcomed by a crowd that is very enthusiastic except for Renee and Calvert, who look serious and out of place. Anton starts the presentation by discussing the tri-band, which is his creation. It's a bracelet that individuals wear on their wrists to monitor their physiology, then decode their DNA, and create a health plan unique to each user. It also sends alerts with reminders on when and what to eat and also when to exercise. However, Anton has a significant announcement today. He's created the tri-band 5, which enables the user to effortlessly enjoy engaging in activities that promote health without requiring reminders. It should also eliminate the necessity for medicine, including the substances used for diabetes, high blood pressure, and even addiction. At the backstage door, one guard knocks the other one out with a taser and then rushes towards the stage, bumping into Franklin in the process. The guard fires his gun into the air and declares that Anton's company is controlling everyone, but at that moment, Franklin strikes him with a wheeled table, providing the other guards the chance to apprehend the guy. Renee and Calvert are displeased with this turn of events, but Anton appreciates Franklin's help and informs him he'll have the interview later. Before leaving, Anton informs Franklin to check his hand, because it's bleeding. Afterward, Franklin gets his hand bandaged, and a member of security takes his tri-band as evidence. As the guy leaves, Franklin suddenly notices Anton's ring on the ground. He picks it up just as his phone rings with Jala's alarm. Franklin examines the ring more closely, and as he touches the stone, he unexpectedly discovers himself reliving the last moment. The leader of security repeats the same words, Jala's alarm sounds, and Franklin discovers the ring once more. Franklin, feeling scared and nervous, covers the ring with his bandage before leaving for the restaurant. While waiting for Jala, he stares at the ring once more, and when the waitress comes to check on him, she brushes against the ring, causing the moment to reset again. Franklin looks at the time on his phone to verify that the ring can turn back time and attempts to use it once more, but the stone has turned white and requires time to recharge. When the waitress comes by again, he holds the ring away from her. Then he performs another test using his phone's stopwatch and finds that the ring can rewind for exactly 57 seconds. At that moment, Jala arrives, and they choose to go somewhere pleasant. During their date, they chat and connect, and Franklin learns that Jala is an artist. In return, he shares with her his work writing articles on how technology affects health. Some of them even got published in a newspaper. Out of nowhere, Jala kisses Franklin, and they find themselves at his chaotic apartment. Alright, let's hit pause. Before we move on, I need you to hit like and subscribe. No, seriously, I'm not going anywhere until you do. Done? Let's go. As they begin to get frisky, Jala spots a woman's bag in his closet and assumes he has a girlfriend, prompting her desire to leave. Franklin quickly rewinds time and shuts the closet before Jala can spot the purse, but she then notices the picture of a woman and attempts to leave once more. With the ring, Franklin resets the moment and conceals both the purse and the picture before leading Jala to his bed. As things heat up, every time Jala makes a daring request, Franklin goes back and does the thing before she even asks so he can appear as an incredible lover. The following morning, Renee and Calvert visit their boss, who happens to be Sig. He questions whether the attack was simply a publicity stunt and instructs Calvert to track Franklin for clues. Sig asks Renee to dig up details regarding the new tri-ban and find a way to prove it isn't real, because if it stops people from taking medicine, he won't make money anymore. Meanwhile, Franklin and Jala are enjoying breakfast together when suddenly, Franklin's car gets towed while Calvert observes in secret. Franklin attempts to use the ring to prevent it, but he isn't quick enough, and now he must gather enough money to retrieve his car. After seeing an ad on TV, Franklin gets an idea. He visits a casino and begins using his ring to win every time. Soon, he's making lots of money and attracting the attention of the crowd, including Calvert, who finds it quite suspicious. Once he has enough money, Franklin acquires a stunning new car and decides to continue earning even more cash. He goes back to the casino and wins additional money, but when he attempts to quit, he's confronted by the casino staff. Franklin quickly rewinds time and attempts to sneak around, even opting to leave the money behind, but the guys consistently follow him and assault him in the parking lot. They believe that Franklin is cheating and attempt to force him to confess, but at that moment Calvert arrives and confronts them, so they release Franklin after warning him to never return. Afterward, Calvert invites Franklin to lunch and attempts to get him to confess how he did it, but Franklin claims he's just lucky. Next, Calvert invites him to meet Sig, but Franklin turns him down because he knows Sig is behind that medicine that has been killing thousands of people. Calvert chooses to hand him his card regardless. Sometime later, Jala visits Franklin and is shocked to see he's purchased new furniture to enhance his apartment's appearance drastically. When she uses Franklin's computer, she discovers a wallpaper of a woman, and Franklin finally explains himself. That's his twin sister, who passed away from an overdose 4 years ago. She had been in a car crash and was given Sig's medicine, which turned her into an addict. Franklin sells serious articles to the newspaper with his real name, but on his personal website, he uses the alias Remedy to speak out against evil companies like Sig's. Jala calls him heroic and promises to keep his secret, so Franklin reveals he has purchased a bunch of painting supplies for her. The couple is about to go for a ride in the new car when Franklin receives a call from Anton, informing him that he's ready for the interview. In fact, Ingram is already there to collect him. When Franklin arrives at the office, Anton provides him with 2 tri-bands for him and Jala. Then they discuss Anton's invention, and he shares his hope to eliminate medicine completely. The goal isn't just to prevent illnesses but also accidents, and Anton intends to utilize a special substance that contains quantum particles to accomplish this. He wraps up the interview by advising Franklin to trust his sense of justice. Later in the evening, Franklin considers whether he should accept the meeting with Sig to attempt to make him confess his crime, and Jala encourages him to go for it. The following day, Calvert introduces Sig to Franklin, who quickly talks about his sister and strikes Sig in the face. Then he rewinds time and pretends to have respect for Sig while they discuss his work. Calvert has informed Sig about Franklin's luck in the casino, so he wants to place a bet. If Franklin can predict what comes next after he whistles, he'll pay him $100,000 for each article he writes admiring his company. If he fails, then he will write 5 articles for half of his current rate. Franklin accepts and guesses a dog will come, but when Sig whistles, one of his models arrives to kiss him and give him a relaxing massage. However, Franklin rewinds time and guesses correctly, so now he has a new job. After Franklin leaves, Sig mentions that Anton must be behind this, so he wants to keep Franklin close. In the evening, Franklin meets with Jala, who remarks that this job would be selling out. However, Franklin explains he simply wants to earn Sig's trust to access his files and expose his company. He swears to use the money for positive purposes such as enhancing their lives and even has the bravery to present his sister's ring to propose to Jala, who highly agrees. The following day, Franklin suggests to Sig that they should organize a large event-style piece to rebrand the company in a few months, cleverly avoiding the need to produce numerous laudatory articles. Sig appreciates the idea, and Franklin receives his own office in the house. When he's left alone, one of the models attempts to flirt with him, but Franklin promptly rejects her, stating he's taken. This annoys Sig, who is watching Franklin while trying to obtain blackmail material. He instructs Renee and Calvert to devise a new strategy to uncover how Franklin performs his trick. Soon, Franklin and Jala relocate to a stunning house to begin a fresh chapter. Sig invites them on a trip to Miami in his private plane and makes them leave the tri-bands behind under the pretext of company policy, but he actually believes Anton assists Franklin in doing the trick through it. The group arrives at a casino, and Franklin begins winning once more with the ring, yet neither Sig nor security can identify any illegal activity. Renee forms a friendship with Jala in an attempt to extract information from her, however, Jala is unaware of anything. Later, while Franklin and Jala are dancing, Franklin is surprised to see Ingram watching them, so he decides to put the ring into his pocket. Moments later, the group is sharing some drinks when suddenly a man approaches them and opens fire to make Sig pay for the deaths he created. Jala ends up shot as well, so Franklin grabs his ring and instantly rewinds time. When the man approaches them again, Franklin seizes him with a bottle to the head. Upon returning home, Franklin finds that news outlets are labeling him as a hero, and Jala approves. She also reminds him of her upcoming art exhibit, and Franklin assures her he'll be there. Unexpectedly, the newscast reveals the identity of the attacker, and Franklin realizes he knew him. The shooter's wife used to work for Sig, and one day she was just revealed dead in the office, but there was no media coverage about it. The guy shows up on the screen stating that they need to check into the company due to the fact that they're blackmailing everyone. The following day, Franklin requests Renee for the file of the deceased woman, stating that he will need to tidy up that story as well. Renee assures she will investigate, but then she urges to alert Sig. Calvert believes Franklin is dangerous as he thinks both attacks have been planned for improving his own image. With a plan in mind, Sig brings the file to Franklin, who finds it empty. Sig defines it as Renee's incompetence and presents Franklin with another gift for assisting him with uncovering all these issues in his company. Shortly after, the duo finds themselves at a bar outside of town. Sig shares some shots and gifts Franklin his car, then he takes him upstairs where a group of women are waiting. Franklin attempts to refuse, but at that moment he understands his drink has been spiked and he is unable to protect himself. The women pull him in for some fun, and Sig captures the entire scene. When Franklin wakes up, it's the middle of the night. He hurries back home in the new car and finds Anton is there, who seems to have purchased all of Jala's art. Anton playfully mocks Franklin for his job with Sig and leaves, allowing Jala to scold Franklin for not attending her event and returning with the smell of alcohol. The two start fighting about the ethics of Franklin's job, and when Franklin highlights that she's loving the money he's earning, she attempts to walk away. Franklin pursues her, and during the struggle, they unintentionally fall into the pool, prompting him to swiftly rewind time to correct the situation. When they reappear inside the house, Jala senses that something strange has occurred, and Franklin understands that individuals touching him during the event will also remember the rewind. Franklin explains how it works, and Jala realizes he used the ring on her too. That's why he always knew what to say or do with her. Feeling as if their relationship is a lie, Jala goes away, prompting Franklin to think that it's time to bring this to an end. The following day, Franklin visits Renee armed with a gun to insist on the password of her safe. She screams for help immediately, prompting Franklin to rewind and try again, but he accidentally touches an object on her desk that causes him pain and leads him to unintentionally shoot her. After another rewind, he covers her mouth and makes her write the combination down. So he rewinds again and tries the numbers on the safe, only to find out it was a fake number. Frustrated, Franklin rewinds again and places a pillow on Renee's lap to aim for her leg and force her to reveal the real combination. After an additional reset, he tries the number, and it works, so he rewinds again. This time he simply tells Renee that he'll be working in his office all afternoon. Afterward, Franklin waits for Renee to leave and opens the safe to take all the evidence. Then Franklin goes home and asks Andy to help him share all the evidence of Sig's crimes during an important basketball game, but Andy is afraid because he might lose his job. However, Franklin sends a large sum of money to his account, and Andy promptly accepts. The following day, Franklin prepares to depart from town as he continues to call Jala without success. When the game finally starts, Andy plays the presentation Franklin made on the big screens, and it's also reaching all news outlets. The video displays security footage of Calvert killing the shooter's wife and how she was killed due to her knowledge of the truth about Sig's medicine. As the world observes everything unfolding, Franklin attempts to exit his house, but he's made unconscious before he can enter the car. Shortly after, Franklin finds himself waking up in an airport, where the guards pull him toward the private plane as Sig commands him to announce that his video was fake. Franklin refuses to collaborate, however, Sig then reveals he kidnapped Jala too. As they're pushed together, Jala shows her satisfaction in what he did, and Franklin requests her to use the ring. Jala touches the stone and steps on the guard's foot to escape, sprinting toward the coming police cars. Franklin is forced into the plane, and it rises, flying over the police who are releasing gunfire on them. A bullet causes the engine to start failing, and Calvert wants to land. However, Sig tells him to keep going. Franklin wonders about what to do with the ring, and Sig unexpectedly touches him, making time rewind. When Sig realizes what the ring can do, he attempts resetting a few times to stop the plane from crashing, but 57 seconds isn't sufficient to prevent the bullet from hitting the engine. Franklin smiles, indifferent to the consequences if it results in Sig's death. A nervous Sig rushes to Calvert, begging for him to turn back, but it's too late, and the plane crashes. Moments later, the police and Jala arrive at the crash site. Renee, Calvert, and Franklin have managed to survive the accident, but just after they move away, the plane explodes with Sig inside. Soon Anton also shows up with his assistant and reveals that Ingram allowed Franklin to have the ring intentionally because he was the ideal person to test it. The ring is made of the quantum crystals that Anton discovered, and now he wants Franklin to work for him. However, Franklin refuses, stating that the power of the ring is as addictive as Sig's medicine, too dangerous. Following that, Anton wants the ring back, but Franklin throws it on the ground and destroys it. This leads Ingram to perform some calculations, and Anton surprisingly states that the offer remains because he requires someone who is able to reject him. Franklin declines once more and returns the tri-bands to Anton, then goes away with Jala to start over a life together, free from this strange technology. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like, share and subscribe button to my channel to see more videos like this.